Hello, this is Matthias. Today I want to talk about how to solve this complex Excel BI challenge. Relatively easy in Power Query. We have to identify continuous sequences and also missing numbers between continuous sequences. These have to be brought into this format. That on its own is not easy, but I will try to do this with UI support. So as much as clicking and convenience as you can get. But let's start first here with this data, this abstract data. So in reality, you would see instead of alpha, beta, gamma, you would see department names, plant names, process names, and instead of 1, 2, 3, you would see here um, transaction numbers, um, ticket numbers, dates, process steps. So this is more realistic, this problem, than it looks. So let's have a look at what we have to look for here. So let's start here. We have to identify continuous sequence. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's the end. And alpha, they're all alpha, so they belong together. We have to bring them over in one row. So it's alpha from 1 to 3. Okay, that's not too difficult. Let's go for the next one. 9, and then the 10 is missing. So yeah, we stop already and we bring this over with alpha from 9 to 9. But then you see here these missing numbers. So how do they come about? Well, these numbers here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, are all between this number 2 from the previous row and the number from the current row. Okay, that makes sense. And we can see also here the 10. I said the 10 is missing, so we see it here. So this is correctly depicted. Let's see 2 more cases, and let's go for this gamma and pretend that instead of the 5, 5, we had gamma from 1 to 1. Then we had a gap to this 3. So is this missing? No, it's not, because gamma and delta are not identical. And the other way around as well. Let's pretend we have gamma 1 from 1 to 2. Then we wouldn't have no gap. It would be continuing to the 3, but it's not continuous because gamma is not identical to delta. So this covers all cases. And let's have a quick look here at the solution which I had originally. It was a very popular solution, very short one, only 4 steps. But the goal is now to do this instead of writing all this code with UI support. So we have here shifting columns down so that we can compare them to the current status. Defining the starting value of the continuous sequence, fill down, and grouped rows. We will have these steps again. You will notice them, but we will have more steps. But on the other hand, it's easier to click. So let's go here to the table. I have already transformed this with Control T to a table. So I can go to the Data tab and with from table range, bring it to the Power Query editor. And let's start with the shift. So add columns. We start with two index columns. First one starts with 0. The second one starts with 1. There we are. That allows us to merge this table here with itself with an offset. So we come here to in the Home tab to merge queries. For the first table, we go for index starting with 0. For the second one, so current, it's the same one. We go for index 1. So just press OK. We are done. We can expand. We only want to have the first two columns. Instead of the prefix, we will go for a suffix. And you can see here, we didn't really push this down. We have the null at the bottom. This is not correctly sorted, so let's correct this by sorting ascending. Yes, that looks better. And let's click on these two index columns because we can get rid of them, just delete them. Okay, now we can compare our table with the shifted down information. So let's add a column, a custom column, where we compare sequence with the sequence 1, the shifted one. Yes. And how does this look? That looks good. No errors. And we see here ones. Every time you see a 1, that means it's a continuous sequence. The other way around, it's definitely not continuous. So and that we will use to pick the start of the continuous sequence. So if sequence is not 1, then we are going for sequence. Else null. So how does it look? That looks very good. And it's perfect for the data we have. But for the second case with the gamma, let's pretend this is a 2. And we would have a 2 here as well. So then we would have here 1, and we would have thought, hey, this is continuous. So we have to have the second criteria, comparing alphabets with the shifted alphabets. Let's bring this in here in the column. So because here now I can click. So or for the second condition is not equal to alphabets 1. Good. And we want to do this for defining the starting value. So from, change the name to from, and there we are. That looks good. I just have to bring this down by filling down. So right mouse, fill down. That's easy. So let's group it. No, there's one thing which will cause us problems later on. So these nulls I will replace with a 0. And yeah, just explaining why a 0. We want to build lists. And if we are doing this with a null, that will bring us an error. Okay, so far so good. Now I can group. So press alphabets and still pushing the control button, and then the last column here from. Go to the Home or the Transform tab. Both is possible. I go to the Home tab normally. There we are. So instead of the count rows, I want to have the max to define the tool value. And I take, of course, sequence. That's good. That's the easy part. Then here I will get the whole data or rows, and we use this for getting the missing numbers. There we are. That looks perfect. You could stop here, but now the challenge is here for the missing. Let's have a quick look at the table. That's all relevant rows. And what we want is only the top row and compare this shifted down value with the sequence value and make a list out of these. From here, the shifted down one to the sequence value. So how to do this? Well, instead of this here, you see the underscore, we will replace everything with just the underscore. And then define, only looking for the sequence one column, and only for the first row. So I have to go here for curly brackets and for a zero based. So let's check this. That looks good. And now we can use this as a starting point of a list. So I will copy all this to save me embarrassing typos. So starting off with a curly bracket, that's our initial value, two dots, and our end value. We have to take out the dot and the one, and we are done. We are not done because I had to close the bracket, the curly bracket. Yes. Let's have a quick look at the list. Oh, the list is too long. You see it here from 3 to 9, and we only want to have from 4 to 8. So let's adjust. Add +1 here and take out a 1 here. And if we now look at this, you see it's perfect 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So just simply, with all the comfort from the interface here with a comma, extract the values. We're done. I can close and load. Well, it is perfect, but just for safety reasons, go here for J1. So load this here as table on the existing worksheet to J1. You will see that it's good. Yep, it is perfect. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed it. Until the next time, bye.